Alright, so after a crazy year in 2025 that saw updates to a number of popular credit cards, 2026 is here and already off to a controversial start thanks to some massive changes from Built's new 2.0 program. So with everything going on, in this video, I want to basically cut through the noise and make a new list of what I think are the 7 best credit cards of 2026. Now, I'm a strong believer that no credit card is perfect for everyone, so I made this list of best cards based on what I think would give the most people the most value, and I'm going to call out some honorable mentions here as well throughout this video. But with all that said, let's go ahead and jump right into things with credit card number 1 on this list, which is going to be the Capital One Venture X. So in a world where most high-end travel credit cards nowadays come with a long list of complicated credits that effectively make them feel like coupon books, Capital One has managed to keep the Venture X pretty much as simple as it was when it first launched several years ago. It comes with a standard welcome offer of 75,000 miles after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months from account opening, and those 75,000 miles are going to be worth a minimum of 1 cent per mile for at least $750 in year 1 value, which is pretty nice. Now, for people like myself who know how to transfer those miles to get even more value thanks to the hotel and airline transfer partners that come with this card, that bonus could be worth closer to at least 2 cents per mile for around $1,500 in value. But the bottom line here is that in year 1 with this card, you're going to come out well ahead of the $395 annual fee on the Venture X. However, the real reason that people feel like that fee isn't too bad is because of the $300 annual travel credit that you get every single year for travel booked through Capital One as well, and because of the 10,000 mile anniversary bonus that you get every year starting on your first account anniversary. That credit's worth at least $100 at a minimum, again at that 1 cent per mile rate, so that means that you can effectively get $400 in yearly value for a $395 annual fee on the Venture X, which sounded reasonable 5 years ago on this card, but it sounds like something that's honestly worth celebrating in 2026 when so many other cards are making things a little bit too complicated. Now, we'll see if Capital One is able to continue offering this good of a deal moving forward, because the Venture X is kind of at that point in its whole life cycle where it could be due for an update sometime soon, but we'll just have to wait and see if that ever happens. Outside of the credits on this card though, this is going to be a great option for earning a lot of valuable Capital One miles from your spending. So the Venture X is going to earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, 5x miles on flights and vacation rentals booked through Capital One Travel, and then 2x miles on all other purchases, which makes this one of the best options out there to have in your wallet as a catch-all card for miscellaneous spending. Now, you do have to book through Capital One Travel to get those even higher multipliers for different types of travel purchases. So again, no credit card is perfect, and that can be viewed as a negative sometimes, but I will say that the Capital One Travel Portal is one of the best out of all the major credit card issuers out there, and that's because it has features like price drop protection, price matching, and price alerts as well. Those features have made this portal a competitive option for booking travel at the best prices, which is something that a lot of other portals kind of struggle with sometimes. So even though I usually prefer to book hotel stays and flights direct if I can, it's not always too bad if I do end up using Capital One Travel. The Venture X also comes with some good travel protections, including primary auto rental coverage, and there's even some other benefits like Hertz President Circle status, as well as no foreign transaction fees, cell phone protection, and up to 4 additional cardholders for no additional fee. However, the other negative thing about the Venture X that's new for 2026 is that those additional cardholders are no longer going to be able to get free airport lounge access anymore starting on February 1st, 2026. So the primary cardholder can still get into Capital One lounges, Priority Pass lounges, and some others for free, but additional cardholders will have to pay a fee for annual lounge access or a per visit fee. Still though, the Venture X remains one of the easiest top tier cards to recommend, especially if you're going to be the primary cardholder and you have a Capital One lounge in your home airport or an airport that you fly out of a lot. So it's an easy pick to be on this list once again for 2026. Next up, we're going to move over to a card that you probably could have guessed would be the second card here on this list because it pairs so well with the Venture X and it's got no annual fee as well. And that of course is going to be the Capital One Saver Rewards card. So the Saver is marketed as a cashback credit card for the most part, and it comes with a standard welcome offer that typically sits at around $200 after spending $500 in the first 3 months. But we do see some limited time offers pop up from time to time on this card throughout the year. Now the Capital One Saver is going to be a great card for getting 3% back on a lot of everyday spend categories, and that's because it gets 3% cash back on grocery stores, dining, entertainment, and popular streaming services, and it also earns 5% cash back on hotels, vacation rentals, and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel. There's also no foreign transaction fees on the Saver, and it's a MasterCard, which means that it's going to be pretty widely accepted outside the US as well. So that's honestly pretty rare for a no annual fee credit card to have no foreign transaction fees, but the one superpower that this card has is that it can be combined with a card like the Venture X if you have that one as well, and you can then turn the cash back from the Saver into more valuable Capital One miles. That conversion happens at a rate where $1 of cash back is equal to 100 miles, so that $200 of cash back from something like a welcome offer could be turned into 20,000 miles, and 3% cash back on grocery stores, dining, entertainment, and popular streaming services could then be turned into effectively 3x miles per dollar on all those things. This 2-card setup has been nicknamed the Capital One Duo, and it's going to be a great simple setup that, again, is easy to recommend for most people, and that's why I had to include both the Venture X and the Saver card from Capital One here on this list of the best credit cards for most people in 2026. Now next here, I want to jump over to a similar 3x earning card that I think is still very underrated, but objectively it is one of the best credit cards out there right now, and that is going to be the Citi Strata Premier card. So the Strata Premier has a standard welcome offer that's typically around the amount of 60,000 Citi thank you points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. And like any other points currency, those points can be redeemed in a number of ways, but personally, I value them at around 2 cents per point each with the transfer partners on this card, so that makes 60,000 thank you points worth around $1,200 to me. That's a ton of upfront value for a card that only has a $95 annual fee. Plus, there's also a $100 annual hotel benefit that comes with the Strata Premier, where once per calendar year, you can get $100 off a single hotel stay of $500 or more, and that's excluding taxes and fees and also applied instantly at the time of booking through cititravel.com. So that credit alone could be enough to offset the annual fee on this card as well, even though personally I'm not a huge fan of Citi Travel for its prices in the past, but I will admit I've used this travel portal recently for booking a hotel stay when I was using a credit, and I did see some competitive pricing, so this credit could be actually kind of decent depending on the situation. Also, you're going to earn some really good multipliers on travel booked through Citi as well, because the Strata Premier earns 10x points on hotels, car rentals, and attractions booked on cititravel.com, as well as 3x points on air travel and other hotel purchases, 3x points at restaurants, 3x points at supermarkets, and 3x points on gas and EV charging. There's also no foreign transaction fees on this card as well, so the Strata Premier is definitely going to be a powerful points earning card from anywhere in the world. And those points just got a little bit more powerful as well last year when Citi brought on American Airlines as a direct one-to-one transfer partner here, and that makes Citi Thank You Points the only major points currency that allows transfers over to American Advantage miles. Now, unfortunately, Citi doesn't really have access to that many great hotel transfer partners, even though there can be some value found here with the hotel programs they do have. And then another negative thing that people usually think about when it comes to Citi is their customer service, but I will say that I've never personally had any issues myself with that, so that's not something that I would let get in the way of getting this card or any other Citi credit cards. You've also got some decent travel protections here, although I do wish that Citi would go into more detail about all this stuff on their website for the things they do mention, like trip delay protection and car rental insurance that come with the Strata Premier. So I had to dig into my own Citi account just to find this information and all this stuff, which is where I saw that this car rental insurance is actually secondary and not primary. But yeah, the Citi Strata Premier is honestly a pretty underrated card with strong points multipliers in a bunch of categories, and it pairs really well with the next card on our list here, which is going to be the Citi Custom Cash, that I still believe is the most flexible credit card on the market when it comes to earning points or cash back. So the Custom Cash has no annual fee, and it's got a standard welcome offer of $200 cash back after spending $1,500 in the first 6 months of account opening. But if you read the fine print for this offer, you're going to see that Citi actually says this offer will be fulfilled as 20,000 Citi Thank You Points, which can then be redeemed for $200 of cash back. That means this card is earning the same points currency as the Strata Premier we just talked about, and so you can actually combine the points earned on these two credit cards as well here to then transfer for more value with the transfer partners on the Strata Premier. That's great to know for the points earned from the welcome bonus on the Custom Cash, but it's also great for the points earned from the main spending multiplier on this card, where you can basically earn 5% cash back, or really 5x points per dollar, on your top eligible spend category each billing cycle for up to $500 spent. Those categories include restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, select travel, select transit, select streaming services, drugstores, home improvement stores, fitness clubs, and live entertainment. So again, lots of flexibility here for this card and how you can earn 5x back. Now, the way I like to use this card is to only pick just one of those eligible categories and then use my Custom Cash exclusively for that one thing. And doing that basically locks that one thing in as my highest spend category by default to earn 5x back. And so for me, this typically just ends up being my go-to gas credit card. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Citi Custom Cash. So again, it's a super simple card with no annual fee that can be a powerful earner in a Citi setup with something like the Strata Premier. But even if you don't have a more premium Citi card to unlock those transfer partners, the Custom Cash is still a great deal for people out there who just prefer a cashback setup, because then this is just going to be a straight up 5% earner as well. So again, this card is just objectively a really valuable option for most people, which is why it's on this list. And it's why this next 5% back card is on this list as well here. And that is going to be none other than the Chase Freedom Flex. So the Freedom Flex is another no annual fee card that typically comes with a nice bonus that's currently sitting at $200 cash back after spending $500 in the first 3 months. But with this credit card, you're also going to be able to earn 5% back on up to $1,500 of spending each quarter in rotating categories that change every 3 months. Now, similar to the custom cash card, Chase advertises that the Freedom Flex earns cash back, but if you read the fine print, then you're going to see that you're actually earning more valuable ultimate rewards points here. So 5% back on those rotating quarterly categories is really 5x points per dollar. We've seen these categories include things like grocery stores, Amazon, PayPal purchases, gas stations, and more, as well as dining like we have here in the first quarter of 2026 when this video is being filmed. And when dining is a rotating 5x category, something special happens here with this card because it also has a fixed 3x dining category already, and so that fixed dining category and the rotating one actually stack together to give you 7x points on dining. The math on this is kind of weird because the way Chase calculates this is that you get a base 1x point per dollar on everything with the Freedom Flex, but then you get 2x bonus points per dollar for the fixed dining category, as well as a separate 4x bonus points per dollar for the rotating dining category. So individually, that base point and the bonus points add up to either 3x or 5x, but combined together, again, that becomes 7x points per dollar on dining spend when dining is a rotating category. So hopefully that makes sense, but the Freedom Flex also earns 5% or 5x points per dollar on travel booked through Chase, as well as 3% or 3x points at drugstores, and there's even some travel protections packed into this card, including a cell phone protection benefit that can protect against theft and damage. But to really unlock the full value of this card, you want to be taking the points that you earn here, and then you want to combine those points with an honorable mention that I wanted to include here in this video as well, and that is going to be the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Now, the Sapphire Preferred, in my opinion, is just an okay card for its multipliers these days because it gets 5x on travel booked through Chase, as well as 2x on other travel, plus 3x on dining, 3x for online groceries only, and 3x for select streaming services. It also comes with an annual $50 Chase travel hotel credit for stays booked through Chase, which can help to offset some of the $95 annual fee here, but this still remains one of the top beginner travel credit cards to get, mostly thanks to its sign-up bonus, which currently sits at 75,000 points, and that's after spending $5,000 in the first 3 months. Those 75,000 Chase points can then be combined with the points earned from the Freedom Flex or even their catch-all card, which is the Freedom Unlimited that earns 1.5x points on everything else. And then the Sapphire Preferred allows you to take those points and transfer them out to one of the many great transfer partners it has access to, which includes Hyatt, and having access to Hyatt alone, I think makes it worth it to have at least both the Freedom Flex and the Sapphire Preferred in your credit card setup. For me, that's why I had to include the Sapphire Preferred as an honorable mention in this video because, I'll be honest, it's really not good enough on its own to be on this list of the best credit cards. But when factoring in the sign-up bonus, Hyatt as a transfer partner, and combining all these points earned with the Freedom Flex, to me it's still worth being at least an honorable mention on this list of the best credit cards for most people in 2026. And I really do think everyone should get this card at least once in their credit card journey. All right, next, let's go ahead and move on to a card from American Express. And Amex is a bit tricky when it comes to recommending a card that's going to be a good fit for most people because most people just don't want to deal with the coupon book of credits that all their top tier cards have. But the one card that still remains very easy to recommend for anyone because of its multipliers and lack of an annual fee would be the Blue Cash Everyday card. So like I said, the Amex Blue Cash Everyday has no annual fee, and it's typically got a nice standard welcome offer of $200 cash back after spending $2,000 in the first 6 months of card membership. But the spending multipliers are what really shines here because you're going to be able to earn 3% cash back on groceries at US supermarkets, 3% back on US online retail purchases, and 3% back on gas at US gas stations, and all of those categories are earning that 3% back on the first 6K of spend for each one of those per calendar year. That means, hypothetically, if you max those out because your budget allows for it, that would get you up to $540 in cash back per year from a credit card that costs nothing out of pocket to hold, and actually there's even a bonus credit on this card that could make it like Amex is basically paying you a little extra to have it as well. That's because the Blue Cash Everyday comes with up to $84 of Disney streaming credits per year, so you can get up to $7 of monthly statement credits after enrolling and then using your Blue Cash Everyday card for a subscription purchase, including a bundle subscription at disneyplus.com, hulu.com, or plus.espn.com US websites. That's awesome, and it makes this a really cool option for people already paying for one of those subscriptions anyway to get some money back for it. And then again, spending money at US supermarkets, US online retail, and US gas stations are all very common things, so lots of value here for the average person. Now, if you do want to consider a more premium Amex card, then the honorable mention that I wanted to include here as well would be the American Express Gold card. So even though this card has a $325 annual fee, there are a bunch of credits here that could make it worth having, but only if those credits truly match your lifestyle. So the Amex Gold has up to $120 of Uber Cash credits, up to $120 of dining credits with select dining partners like Grubhub and Shake Shack, and then up to $84 of Dunkin' credits. And those are going to be split up evenly into monthly use it or lose it credits that do not roll over from one month to the next. There's also up to $100 of Resi credits for use at US Resi restaurants, where you can get $50 back from January through June, and then another $50 from July through December. So with all of that, this could be up to $424 of value to help offset some or all of that $325 annual fee. There's also a really good welcome offer where you can get as high as 100,000 membership rewards points after spending $6,000 in the first 6 months of card membership, and the card earns 4x points at restaurants worldwide, 4x points on groceries at US supermarkets, 3x points on flights, and 2x points on prepaid hotel bookings through Amex Travel. So again, this card needs to sort of fit into your lifestyle and your spending habits to truly be worth it, which is why I don't recommend it to everyone, but it's definitely still one that remains a powerful points earning card compared to the competition. So yeah, it was a good honorable mention for this video. Then next here, I also had to include another 5% credit card that's just really hard to dislike because it's consistently good for people out there who don't want to always be chasing sign-up bonuses year after year, and that would be the Prime Visa card, which is going to be excellent for anyone who shops a lot at Amazon. So the Prime Visa has no annual fee, but you do have to be a Prime member to actually get this card. However, most people nowadays, including myself, already pay for Prime anyway, so there's not going to be any additional cost for this card on top of that membership fee. Now, the Prime Visa has a standard offer of a $150 Amazon gift card that you get instantly on approval, which is pretty cool because there's no minimum spend to get that. But we do tend to see slightly higher offers during big Amazon shopping times of the year, like the holiday season, so keep an eye out for those if you're considering this card. But with the Prime Visa, you're going to earn a great 5% cash back on Amazon.com, Amazon Fresh, and Whole Foods Market purchases, as well as 5% back on Chase Travel, plus 2% cash back at gas stations, restaurants, and on local transit and commuting, including rideshare. There's also no foreign transaction fees on this Visa card, which again is pretty rare for a no annual fee card to have. So this would be another easy recommendation to people out there who travel internationally a lot, or maybe even someone who's studying abroad. Now, I also wanted to quickly bring up one more not so honorable mention here because it's sort of going to be the elephant in the room for being left out of a video like this, and that would be the original Bilt MasterCard. So I've been including that old Bilt MasterCard in my best credit cards videos every single year for the past few years now, since it really was just an amazing card to have for renters, and that's because it essentially earned 1x points per dollar on rent with no transaction fees, as long as it was used at least 5 times each statement period. However, that old Bilt MasterCard is gone now thanks to the recent Bilt 2.0 refresh that I made an initial thoughts video on the day it got announced, and as soon as I saw the new complicated 2.0 Bilt cards compared to the old no-brainer 1.0 Bilt card, I knew that I was not going to be including Bilt on this list of the best credit cards for 2026. I was actually waiting to make this video until after that Bilt announcement for their 3 new cards in case I did want to include at least one of them here, but the truth is this new Bilt 2.0 program to me just offers an entirely new and confusing value proposition compared to what the old Bilt MasterCard offered, and now these cards just aren't as easy to recommend to help most people get the most value, which again is my goal with making this type of video. However, even though the easy way of earning points by paying rent with Bilt is now effectively gone in my opinion, the new Bilt 2.0 does still offer a surprisingly good amount of value for me in a completely different way now, but it just comes at the expense of losing what made the old program so great, and I really think that's what's frustrating for a lot of people. Now, I'm gonna have a full video coming out very soon here to finally go over all my official thoughts on the new Bilt 2.0 cards in a much more organized way compared to my first video, which again was literally just my unscripted initial thoughts. So I did not get to say everything I wanted to in the first video because I really just wanted to put an upload out there on day one to cover the news. But yeah, I'm not including Bilt in this video here for the best credit cards of 2026. Even though I personally do have a certain way that I'm going to be using my new Bilt Palladium card this year that should be pretty good for earning me a lot of valuable Bilt points. So we'll see if Bilt can actually bounce back from the negative rollout of their 2.0 program to start this year. And again, I'm going to be explaining how exactly I'm going to continue using Bilt in my upcoming full review. But if you want to see my initial thoughts on Bilt 2.0, then make sure to go ahead and check out this video over here on the screen next. But as always, thanks so much for watching.